The stars were calm. After 200 years of war, the galaxy was quiet for the first time. The Tyran warlords had finally fallen. Their last fortress had been destroyed. The Galactic Union, a group of 71 alien species, had won. On the planet Lysar Prime, Union leaders gathered to celebrate. Fireworks lit the sky. Soldiers cheered. Children danced in the streets. After so much death and destruction, peace had returned. High above the planet, Union Command watched from orbit. Admiral Varnak, an old warrior from the Brakari species, stood at the edge of the observation deck. He didn't smile. His eyes were cold. "You should be happy," said Commander Phelan, a young officer with golden skin and soft eyes. "We've done it. The war is over." Varnak shook his head. "Wars end with silence. But this silence feels wrong." Phelan didn't understand. But she respected Varnak. He had seen more battles than most had read about. Just then, a low beep echoed through the control room. "Unknown signal detected," said a voice from the AI systems. "Long-range sensors report an object entering the outer edge of Sector 9. "What is it?" Varnak asked. The techs worked fast. "It's a ship, large, over 3 kilometers long, no Union design, no Tyran signature either. Send coordinates." "To Recon Team 3, Varnak ordered. "Tell them to intercept." Sector 9, Deep Space Recon Team 3 was made up of 3 fast Union ships. They flew quietly through the blackness, engines low, weapons ready. Soon they saw it, a massive black ship shaped like a spear. No lights, no energy signature. It floated like a dead thing in space, but it was moving, slowly, directly toward Union space. "And scan it," Captain Rouleau said. "No response to scans," his officer replied. "It's blocking everything, not even passive readings." "Try to hail it," a signal was sent. Static came back, then something else, a voice. It was broken, sharp, and in an old language that hadn't been heard for centuries. The translation, system struggled but finally spoke. "Humanity has arrived." The crew froze. "Humanity?" Rouleau asked. "That's a myth, a ghost story." "No, Captain," his science officer said. "That voice, it's human. From Earth Standard English. It's real. Union High Command, emergency session in the Great Hall of the Union Council. Panic spread. Humans were wiped out long." "Hago," said one counselor. "They destroyed themselves." "No," Varnak said calmly. "They vanished. We never found their bodies." "They couldn't survive," another said. "No planet, no ships, nothing." Varnak stood up. "I fought in the early Tyran wars. I remember the rumors. Humans didn't just fight, they scared even the Tyrans, but they left the war. They didn't trust us. Maybe they went into hiding." "Why return now?" asked Phelan. Varnak looked at the stars outside. "Because they've been watching, and now they're ready." Back in space, the black ship did not stop. It kept moving, slow, direct, and cold. Every Union ship that approached it disappeared. No wreckage, no distress signals, just silence. Then came the second ship, then a third, all black, all massive. The Union called for a full fleet to form a blockade. 50 ships were sent. Heavy, cruisers, battleships, stealth frigates, the strongest ships the Union had left. They waited in front of the black ship. A message came through. Text only. Simple words. "Do not resist. We are not here to conquer. We are here to remember." Though Union leaders didn't understand, what did it mean? Then the black ship powered up. A single pulse of energy was released. Silent, bright, and in less than 3 seconds, the entire Union fleet was disabled. Not destroyed, not burned, just turned off. Floating in space, powerless. The black ship moved past them, unharmed. Union panic worlds across the Union panicked. News spread fast. The ghosts have returned. The humans are real. What do they want? Phelan watched as people ran in the streets of Lysar Prime. Shops closed. Ships took off. Everyone wanted to escape. She turned to Varnak. Is it revenge? She asked. Varnak was quiet. Then he said, They never start wars. That was their law. But if they were wronged, they never forget. In the shadow somewhere deep in the black ship, a human stood in silence. He wore armor the color of ashes. His eyes were tired, hard, and quiet. A young soldier approached. Commander, we are within Union space. The man nodded. How long? Since Earth burned? 312 years. Time enough, the commander said. He turned toward a dark screen that showed the galaxy map. He pressed a button. A single word appeared. Begin. The mysterious black ships moved deeper into Union space. They didn't attack planets, they didn't speak again. They only moved forward. Slow, steady, and quiet, like ghosts rising from the past. People across the galaxy were afraid. But no, one knew what to do. Union High Command, Crisis Meeting Admiral Varnak, stood in the middle of the Great War Room. All screens showed the same image. 3 black human ships heading toward the core worlds. They haven't fired on civilians, Phelan said. What do they want? They're making a statement, Varnak replied. They want us to remember them. Counselor Dresk, a tall insectoid alien with golden eyes, slammed the table. Humans are extinct. We've studied their history. They destroyed themselves in civil wars. They vanished. Varnak turned to him slowly. We didn't study their history. We covered it up. The room fell silent. What are you saying? Phelan asked. Varnak looked tired. There are secrets. The Union hid. We didn't just lose contact with Earth, we let it die. Phelan's voice dropped. You knew this? I was a young officer, Varnak said. I didn't understand then, but I do now. The humans didn't die. They went silent. They waited. Now, they've returned. Meanwhile, on board the human flagship, the inside of the ship looked like a tomb. Black metal walls. Red lights. Silence. Commander Elias Kane stood in front of a long row of names etched into a steel wall. Each name was a lost city, a lost colony, a betrayal remembered. He stared at one name in particular. Earth. A young officer approached. Sir, our scout drones report no resistance. Union forces are retreating. Good, Kane said. We don't waste lives. This is not about war. Then why are we here? Kane didn't answer for a long time. Then he said quietly, because the galaxy forgot what it means to fear. Phelan's discovery back on Lysar Prime. Phelan couldn't sleep. She sat in the dark staring at her screen. She reread the hidden file. Operation Silent Dawn, Earth Betrayal. Year, 2814 Galactic Time. Summary. The Union High Command voted to abandon the Sol system. Earth requested aid. The Council refused. The Tyrants attacked. Humanity was sacrificed to buy time. Phelan leaned back, her heart pounding. The Union let Earth burn. And now, the humans had returned to remind them. The stories of the old war. Varnak sat in his quarters, watching an old video. It was blurry. The sound was damaged, but the message was clear. In the video, a group of human soldiers fought against a Tyran force 10 times their size. They didn't run. They didn't scream. They moved with purpose, calm, brutal, fast. Varnak remembered what the Tyrans used to say. Humans don't fear death, they use it. He closed the video. He had seen enough. Panic across the galaxy news. Channels screamed, human ships entering neutral zones. Union planets call for evacuation. Are the ghosts of Earth here for revenge? Some races tried to surrender. Others wanted to fight. But no one knew how to stop the humans. The Council divides in the Council chamber, leaders argued. They're only targeting military systems, one counselor said. They haven't harmed civilians. They're here to destroy the Union, shouted another. We must strike now. But how? Nothing works against their ships. Admiral Varnak stood. If we attack, we all die. If we run, we show weakness. Then what do you suggest? Asked Dresk. We talked to them. Everyone laughed. You want to negotiate with humans? One said. They're savages. No, Varnak said. They're survivors, and they're angry. Mission to contact Varnak and Phelan took a small, diplomatic ship. It was unarmed, slow, easy to track. They flew toward the nearest human vessel. It didn't fire, it didn't respond. Finally, after hours of silence, they were pulled in by a tractor beam. The black ship swallowed their craft like a beast opening its mouth. Inside the human ship, the air was cold. The walls felt alive. Phelan and Varnak walked slowly through the dark corridor. No guards, no voices. Then, a door opened. Commander Elias Kane stood waiting. He looked human, but harder. His face was scarred, his eyes held centuries of pain. You came to talk, he said. Yes, Varnak replied. We want peace. Now? Kane asked. You want peace now? We didn't know what the old council did, Phelan said. We weren't there. Kane stared at her. But you wear their flag. You carry their name. He turned and walked to a large screen. Images appeared. Cities burning, children crying, earth falling in silence. You left us to die, Kane said. You watched. You closed your doors. Varnak stepped forward. Not all of us agreed. Many died trying to stop the order. And yet, Earth still burned. Kane turned back to them. We didn't come to conquer. We came to show the galaxy what it did, what it forgot. Phelan asked softly, What do you want? Kane looked into her eyes. Justice. Cliffhanger ending. The next move back in Union space, panic turned to fear. The humans released a message to all systems. We are not your enemy, unless you were part of the crime. We do not seek war, unless you bring it to us. We do not forgive betrayal. We remember. Then came the shocking news. A second human fleet had arrived. But they weren't alone. New ships, unknown designs, other races, human allies, survivors, maybe even other betrayed species the Union had left behind. The human ships no longer hid. They were now in open space right on the edge of the Union's core systems. Their black armor shone like the night sky. They did not fire. They did not run. They simply waited. Across the galaxy, the message still played on every screen in every language. We are not your enemy, unless you were part of the crime. We do not seek war, unless you bring it to us. We do not forgive betrayal. We remember. Union Emergency Command on. Lysar Prime, the Union's new war room, was silent. Admiral Varnak, Counselor Dresk, and Commander Phelan watched live footage. The human fleet now had over 40 ships, big, dark, and deadly, but they hadn't attacked anyone, and yet. They're giving us time, Varnak said quietly. Time to choose. To choose what? Dresk snapped. Surrender? Beg for forgiveness? These are humans, not gods. There's something else now, Phelan whispered. Something different, something we don't understand. Human flagship Vigilant Memory. Commander Elias Kane stood on the bridge. He didn't move much. He didn't need to. The ship ran like a living machine. Every officer knew what to weigh. Do without being told. Status? He asked calmly. No signs of aggression? The AI replied. Union fleets remain at defensive positions. They fear us. But they are unsure. Kane nodded. Then a message came through. A request. A Union diplomat ship wanted to talk. A peace envoy. Let them board, Kane said. No weapons, no tricks. The meeting. First contact. The Union ship docked with the human vessel. 2 diplomats stepped out. One was Phelan. The other was Counselor Dresk, sent to control the talks. They walked through long, silent halls. It was like walking through the bones of a giant. The walls were marked with names. Not of ships, but of cities, planets, colonies. Phelan paused. She saw one word glowing red. New Geneva. She whispered, That was Earth's last capital. They remember everything, Varnak had told her earlier, and now she believed him. The door opened. Elias Kane stood there with two other humans, one man and one woman. Their eyes were dark, serious, and full of memory. Feline stepped forward. "We come in peace," she said. "Too late," Kane replied. Dresk stepped forward. "You have no right to be in our space. We demand you withdraw." Kane didn't blink. "Do you speak for the council that left Earth to burn?" "I speak for the Union," Dresk said proudly. Kane looked him over. "Then you speak for the guilty." Flashback. Earth's final day inside the room. A giant screen lit up. It played. Old footage, Earth glowing blue. Then the attack Tyran warships. Explosions in orbit. Cities vaporized. Civilians screaming. A message played. "To the Union. Earth requests aid. We cannot hold. Please respond." But no answer ever came. Instead, a final voice whispered, "They left us. Let this be remembered." Phelan turned away, tears in her eyes. Kane looked at her. "We broadcast this to every world, so they remember what your leaders did." Dresk shook his head. "That war is over. The Tyrans are gone. None of this matters anymore." Kane stepped closer. His voice dropped to a cold whisper. "It always mattered to us." A last warning. Kane leaned forward. "We give you this one chance. Deliver those responsible. The old leaders. The ones who ordered Earth abandoned." Phelan looked at him in shock. "Most of them are dead." "Not all," Kane said. "And we know who they are." Dresk laughed nervously. "You can't threaten the Union." Kane stared at him. "We're not threatening. We're informing," Phelan asked softly. "And if we refuse?" Kane turned and pressed a button. A map of the Union appeared. Red circles showed 14 military command centers. "You'll be disarmed in 12 hours, non-lethally. You won't die, unless you fight." Dresk's voice cracked. "You're bluffing." The human woman beside Kane finally spoke. Her voice was sharp as a blade. "Try us. Back on Lisar Prime. Confusion and chaos. The council was in chaos." Phelan gave her report. "They want justice, not territory, not power. They want the betrayers." "Ridiculous," Dresk shouted. "We will. Not kneel to ghosts." "Then prepare for war," Phelan said, voice steady. Some counselors began to panic. Others whispered among themselves. But one thing was clear. The humans had the power, and they had the plan. The human strategy, across 14 sectors, human ships were already in position. They didn't hide. They moved with purpose. Each ship carried EMP spears, old but deadly weapons that could shut down entire planets' tech for hours without firing a single shot. They were here to disarm, not destroy. But, if pushed, they could end it all. Union Secret revealed Varnak walked into the council chamber with something in his hand. A document. He dropped it on the table. "This is the signed order," he said. "From 312 years ago, the betrayal of Earth. I was there. I was young, I was scared, but I knew it was wrong." Counselor Dresk tried to stop him. "You don't have the authority." "I don't care," Varnak interrupted. "I'll go to them myself. I'll admit the truth. I'll offer myself for judgment." Gasps filled the room. Phelan stood beside him. "I'll go too." Cliffhanger. Ending. Judgment. Begins later that night, Kane received a new message. It wasn't from the council. It was from Varnak. "I was part of the system that left you behind. I am ready to face justice. Let it begin with me." Kane watched the message. For the first time, his expression changed. Not anger, not hate, but something older. Sorrow. He stood in silence, then spoke a single word. "Accepted." But the war wasn't over. It was just beginning. The galaxy held its breath. 14 human warships hovered in key Union sectors. Their weapons were not firing, but they were armed, ready, unshaken. Across the stars, Civilians watched the sky with fear. In Union government halls, panic spread like wildfire. And on board the human flagship Vigilant Memory, Commander Elias Kane prepared for the next step. A decision made. Inside the ship's command room, red light glowed across a table showing the galaxy map. Circles blinked, targets locked. But Kane wasn't smiling. He wasn't celebrating, he was remembering. Commander Isla Rain, his second-in-command, stood beside him. Her voice was calm but cold. Varnak accepted judgment, she said. He's coming, alone. Kane looked up. He's old, but he carries the truth. What if it's a trick? Kane shook his head. No, not this one. He was there when Earth fell. He remembers, just like we do. Varnak's journey Admiral Varnak sat alone in the shuttle, heading toward the human ship. He had left behind his rank, his badge, his power. Only one thing traveled with him, an old data crystal. Inside it, the truth. Everything the Union hid for over 300 years. The vote to abandon Earth. The last messages from humans begging for help. The secret council that erased Earth's records from Union archives. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Forgive us." Back on Lysar Prime, Council and Chaos Phelan stood before the Council again. He's doing this to stop the war. She said. Councilor Dresk slammed his hand on the table. He's surrendering, a traitor to the Union. No, Phelan replied. He's the first brave soul in this room. The Council was breaking apart. Some wanted to surrender. Others wanted. But one thing was clear. Humanity had changed everything. The Union's age of control was ending. A new kind of weapon, as Varnak's shuttle docked with the Vigilant Memory. Across Union space, the human ships deployed something strange. Not bombs, not lasers, satellites. They floated out like seeds, silent, harmless, until they activated. In each system, lights went dark. Military bases shut down, ships lost power, no explosions, no blood. Just silence and fear. The EMP spears had done their job. The Union was blind. The meeting Varnak stepped into the cold corridors of the human ship. The names of dead worlds glowed on the walls. He walked until he reached Kane's chamber. It was a simple room. No throne, no flags, just memory. Kane stood as Varnak entered. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Varnak said, I was there. When the vote was made. Kane nodded. And you stayed silent. Varnak lowered his head. Yes. And I have lived with that shame every day. He handed Kane the data crystal. This is everything. Proof. Details. Names. Kane took it. He didn't smash it. He didn't scream. He simply placed it on the table. We're not here for blood, Kane said. We're here to make the galaxy see what it forgot. The broadcast minutes later, a message went out across all Union channels. It showed the vote, the faces of those who abandoned Earth. The words, Earth is not worth saving. Let them burn. The galaxy watched in silence. Then they saw something more. The final call from Earth, a child's voice. Please, don't leave us. And then, nothing. Silence. Forever. The reaction, across the stars, anger grew. Not toward humans, toward the Union. Protests began. Riots followed. Statues of Union heroes were torn down. Entire planets demanded answers. Some even declared independence. The Union's grip was breaking. The truth had done what no fleet could. It shattered the illusion of peace. But humanity wasn't finished. As Kane watched the chaos unfold, Isla stepped beside him. Is it enough? She asked. Kane didn't answer at first. Then he said, No, not yet. He pressed a button. A hidden map appeared. One only a few knew existed. It showed systems outside Union control, hidden colonies, unknown signals, and one marked with a red circle, Elysium Protocol. Isla stared at it. Are we really doing this? We have to, Kane said. They don't just need to remember Earth. They need to remember who we were. The Union's darkest secret back on LISAR Prime. Phelan received a strange file. It came from a hidden source. It was titled, The Elysium Protocol. She opened it and gasped. Inside were records of secret human colonies that survived the fall of Earth, places the Union knew about, but chose to ignore. They weren't just survivors. They were experiments. The Union had studied them in secret, using them as labs for warfare, mind control, and even biological testing. Phelan dropped the file. They didn't just abandon Earth, she whispered. They used it. The cliffhanger, humanity's real weapon back on the vigilant memory. Kane stood before a large hangar door. It opened slowly. Inside were ships. New ones. Different. They had no windows. No crew AI guided. Fast, smart, and angry. A voice spoke from the wall. Not human, not calm, but full of fire. We are the Ghost Fleet, born from betrayal, forged in silence, ready to burn the lie to ash. Kane looked at them. The Union thought. Earth was over, he said. He stepped forward. They were wrong. In the dark corners of space where Union maps ended, something stirred. A fleet, silent and unseen, came to life. They had no crews, no names, only code. Code written in pain, forged after Earth's fall, hidden for centuries. Waiting. Now the Ghost Fleet had been given one command: make them remember. Union systems in collapse across the galaxy, Union control was falling apart. The truth about Earth had exploded across every screen, every datapad, every city. People no longer trusted. The Council. Soldiers refused to fight. Planets declared independence. But it wasn't just words causing panic. It was what came next. Because now, the humans weren't just showing messages. They were sending the Ghost Fleet. The first target, Draxon Outpost A, remote Union base, highly secure, guarded by 10 defense satellites. It was meant to be untouchable. At 0200 hours, it went offline. No explosions, no alarms, just silence. When a rescue ship arrived 30 minutes later, it found every satellite fried, every system disabled. The entire base had been shut down. No one was hurt, but on every wall these words were burned in. We remember Earth. The Union tried to cover it up. Too late. Billions had already seen it. Panic Counselor Dresk slammed his fist on the table. This is terrorism. Phelan faced him calmly. No. This is justice. Varnak sat beside her. He was thinner now, quieter, but his voice was clear. We had 300 years to admit our crime, he said. We didn't. Now they make us remember. Dresk growled. Then we'll crush them. Phelan shook her head. How? Half our fleet won't. Fight. The people cheer for the humans now. She looked around the chamber. Soon even the Council will fall. Inside the Ghost Fleet ship designation, Wrath 07 mission, disrupt communications on Union World Poltar. The ship had no pilot. It didn't need one. It moved like a shadow through the void. It dodged sensors, killed no one, just turned off the lights. When it entered Poltar Phi's orbit, it released thousands of small drones, each the size of a bird. The drones flew across the sky, blinking in sequence. A message formed, seen by millions below. They abandoned Earth. We will not abandon the truth. Children pointed at the sky. Elders cried, and the people believed. Back on the vigilant memory, Commander Kane watched the galaxy change. System by system, the Union fell silent. Not by war, but by exposure. The Ghost Fleet was not designed to destroy, was designed to humiliate, to pull back the mask, to show the galaxy the truth that had been buried for centuries. A secret revealed. Inside the vigilant memory's vault, Isla Rain opened a hidden archive. It was marked Origin Protocol, Level Omega. Only a few knew it existed. She clicked the file. What she saw made her blood run cold. Earth's destruction, was not just because of tyrant aggression. The tyrants were pushed into war by the Union itself. Records played, meetings of Union spies, secret deals, false flag attacks. The tyrants were tricked into striking Earth, so the Union could crush both and become the sole power in the galaxy. The betrayal was deeper than anyone knew. Kane learns the truth. Isla brought the files to Kane. He stared at the screen. Even he hadn't known this. They planned Earth's death, he whispered. To make themselves stronger. Isla nodded. They needed a villain. So they made one. Kane's eyes went dark. We were not victims of war, he said. We were victims of politics. His voice grew cold. Now the galaxy will learn everything. Broadcast to the stars that night, the largest broadcast in galactic history went live. A deep human voice spoke as images played. They told you Earth fell in a fair war. They told you we were just a casualty of history. But they lied. They pushed our enemies. They left us to die. And then they erased us. The final image. A child on Earth reaching for a ship that never came. Then, black screen. Text faded in. We are back. Reactions. Across the galaxy, protests became revolts. Armies laid down their weapons. Union worlds closed their gates. On some planets, Union statues were pulled down and replaced with new ones. Human ones. People began calling it the era of reckoning. The Union's last move, with everything falling apart, Counselor Dresk made a desperate choice. He called the Black Guard, a hidden military unit kept off the books. Loyal only to the Council, he gave a single order. Destroy the vigilant memory. Kill the human commanders. End this. He didn't care about peace anymore. Only power. Cliffhanger. The trap is set inside the Ghost Fleet command hub. Kane received a strange message. It was from a rogue AI. Blackguard ships inbound, 25. Stealth class. Their target? You. Isla looked at him. They think we don't know. Kane smiled for the first time in days. They don't understand humans, he said. He pressed a button. All around the galaxy, hidden Ghost Fleet ships turned toward the enemy. The hunters were about to become the hunted. The Black Guard moved like shadows. 25 stealth ships, the best the Union had ever built, flew toward their target, the Vigilant Memory, the human flagship. They were invisible to most sensors, deadly, fast. Inside their war rooms, officers smiled. This ends tonight, one said. They won't even see it coming, said another. But they were wrong. Humanity had seen it coming days ago, and they were ready. Back on the Vigilant Memory, Commander Elias Kane stood in the command center, calm and focused. All units report, he said. The Ghost Fleet AI replied in its smooth, metallic voice. Interceptors locked. Decoy ships moving. Phase 1 ready. Isla Rain stepped beside Kane, her face cold with purpose. They think they're hunting us, she said. Kane nodded. But they've walked into a minefield. Phase 1, lure the enemy as the Black Guard closed in. They saw what looked like the Vigilant Memory floating near a red dwarf star. No shields, no weapons active. Easy kill. Target locked, said the Black Guard leader. He gave the order. All ships opened fire, dozens of torpedoes, streaking through space. They hit the ship dead on. Explosions rocked through the hull. Except, it wasn't the Vigilant Memory. It was a decoy, an empty shell built to look like the flagship. Before the Black Guard could react, they saw it. Hundreds of Ghost Fleet ships decloaking behind them. Kane's voice came through open comms. Checkmate. Phase 2. Total disruption. The Ghost Fleet didn't use missiles. They used precision.EMP blasts shut down Black Guard engines. Hacking drones disabled their systems. One by one, the stealth ships went dark. Their weapons froze. Their engines stalled. The hunters were now helpless. The humans didn't kill them. Instead, each ship was surrounded, boxed in, scanned, and then left floating, powerless. They had been defeated without a single death. The message was clear. We could have destroyed you, but we didn't. We only want the truth. Council collapse news of the failed attack spread fast. When the Council learned the entire Blackguard fleet was neutralized without a fight, panic erupted. Dresk roared. They made fools of us. Phelan, now standing tall among the Council, replied, No, you made fools of yourselves. Humanity just showed us the truth. The chamber turned against Dresk. Varnak stood slowly. His voice echoed through the hall. I vote, he said, to dissolve the High Council and surrender all power to a new alliance, one with humans at the table. One by one, hands were raised. The union was over. A signal from the edge. While the galaxy watched the fall of the old order, something unexpected happened. A strange signal was received on the Vigilant Memory's deep-range scanner. It was a human signal. Ancient. Encryption. Earth-based code, but from outside the known galaxy. Isla frowned. That's impossible. No one's out there. Kane leaned in. The signal repeated 3 words. Eden, still. Lives. Kane stood frozen. Eden Protocol. He whispered, I thought it failed. What is it? Isla asked. Kane stared at the stars. A colony, he said. One we lost before Earth fell. One built in secret, far beyond the Union. The lost colony, Eden back during Earth's final years before the Tyran War, a secret group launched a mission beyond known space. Their goal, create a new home. A backup, a place to survive if Earth was ever lost. They called it Eden. For centuries, no one heard from them. Everyone believed they failed. But now, they were calling. And the Ghost Fleet had heard them. Why it matters? Eden wasn't just a colony. It held something more, a prototype archive, filled with Earth's purest culture, science, and history, untouched by Union edits. If Eden survived, it meant Earth's true soul still lived, not just memory, but hope. Kane turned to Isla. We change. Of course, he said. We're going to Eden. Enemies still lurk far across the stars in the ruins of an old Union research base. Something woke up. A figure stepped from the shadows, watching the chaos unfold. He was not human, not Tyran, not Union. He was something else, a builder of the protocols. He watched the message from Eden and smiled. So, they're still alive, he whispered. He tapped a screen. A new fleet lit up, one not marked on any map. Not Union, not Ghost Fleet. Something worse. Something ancient. Something angry. Cliffhanger. The real enemy reveals itself. Back aboard the Vigilant Memory as Kane prepared the fleet to head beyond the galaxy, the Ghost Fleet AI spoke. New threat detected. Unknown origin. Estimated size. Planetary. Source. Heading for Eden. Kane's eyes went wide. We're not the only ones who heard the signal, he said. Isla replied. Whatever's coming, wants Eden destroyed. Kane stepped forward. Then we'll get there first. Or die trying. Edge of the galaxy. The Ghost Fleet raced through the dark beyond, far past any charted stars. The signal from Eden grew stronger. Every human aboard the Vigilant Memory was silent. Focused. They weren't just chasing a signal now. They were chasing the last true piece of Earth. Commander Kane stared out the bridge window. If Eden lives, we live. Eden found after days of travel, they saw it. A small blue-green world hidden in a nebula cloud. 3 moons, a single beacon blinking. Eden protocol active. The crew stared, speechless. Isla whispered, They made it, and then alarms. The Ghost Fleet AI spoke. Unknown fleet approaching. Hostile pattern detected. Size, massive. A wall of ships appeared from deep space. Black, sleek, silent. They carried no flags, no names. Just death. Kane stepped forward. They followed the signal too. The final enemy, the strange fleet, wasn't Union. It wasn't Tyran. It was older, forgotten, AI-driven. left from the old war that ended Earth. Back then, the Union had unleashed these machines to destroy Earth's escape plans, to stop any surviving colonies. But one AI group failed. It never found Eden, now it had, and it was here to finish the job. The call to defend Eden, inside Eden's hidden city, humans gathered. They were descendants of the first colonists. 300 years of peace. They thought Earth was still alive. Now they learned the truth. Eden's leader, Dr. Soren Vale, sent a message to Cain. If you can protect us, the archive is yours. It has every piece of Earth, every truth, every memory. Cain nodded. We're not leaving Eden to burn. Not again. The battle begins. The Ghost Fleet deployed in defense. Over 150 ships, coordinated by a human-AI hybrid system. The black enemy fleet moved fast, with no warning. First contact came above Eden's second moon. Ghost ships used cloaking, fast pulses, and swarm tactics. But the enemy adapted. For every 2 enemy ships destroyed, 1 ghost ship was lost. On the bridge, Cain gave the order. Deploy. The last line. The Vengeance class. The Vengeance class. These were not normal ships. They were built in silence after Earth fell. Powered by fusion cores, armed with gravity torpedoes. Each one could wipe out a fleet, but was too dangerous to use until now. 5 of them launched. Like thunder, they tore through the dark. Enemy ships exploded like sparks in the wind, but one by one, even the Vengeance-class ships fell. There were too many enemies. Eden fights back. Then something unexpected happened. From Eden itself, hundreds of tiny fighters rose. Old models, hand-built over generations. Pilots from Eden flew them into battle, screaming across open comms. For Earth, for Eden. Humanity wasn't done fighting, they never would be. Cain's final move. The enemy fleet began targeting the planet itself. Cain knew they had 1 shot left. A plan Isla had warned him about. Use the pulse engine, she said. It could fry every system we have. Cain nodded. If we don't, they'll burn Eden. He turned to the AI. Do it. The pulse. The vigilant memory glowed with light. Its core reached max charge. Then, white fire spread across space. Every Ghost Fleet ship activated its pulse mode. A blinding shockwave of raw energy surged in every direction. Enemy ships crashed. Fried, fell apart. One final blast from the Vengeance class tore the enemy command node apart, and just like that, it was over. Silence. The sky cleared. The enemy was gone. Ghost Fleet ships floated, some damaged, some destroyed, but Eden was safe. On the bridge, no one spoke. Then Cain finally said, "We did it." Aftermath. Eden opened its gates. Cain and Isla stepped onto the surface. Earth soil, reborn. Dr. Soren Vale led them to the Earth Archive, a black vault, sealed for 300 years. Inside, millions of files, videos, photos, culture, music, stories. Everything that Earth once was. Children of Eden cried as they watched old Earth songs play. Soldiers saluted as they saw pictures of the last defenders of Earth. It was all still alive. A new council. Months passed. The galaxy slowly healed. New council formed, built by ex-Union worlds, Eden citizens, and humans from the Ghost Fleet. This time, Earth was not erased. This time, they led the table. Cain was offered leadership. He refused. "I'm just a soldier," he said. "Let the people lead." He returned to space, with Isla beside him. Final scene. A message to the stars. One last broadcast was sent across the galaxy. It showed Cain standing beneath Eden's stars. He spoke simply, clearly. "You tried to forget us. You tried to erase us. But we survived. We remember Earth. And now, so will you." Then the screen faded to black. A new symbol appeared. Humanity restored.